So this week you're going to be introduced to the Oregon Physical Therapist Licensing Board. The role of the Physical Therapist Licensing Board in Oregon is to protect the public. It is to update the rules regarding physical therapy practice as directed by the state legislature and by signed order of the governor. Is to work to make sure our administrative rules and our Practice Act reflects what's happening in physical therapy practice. They also establish competency and continued competency requirement, sometimes called continued education. And they are also there to help all of you get your license as you apply for license upon graduation. The role of the licensing board is also upon complaints to do an investigation when the complaint suggests unethical practice or violation with the State Physical Therapy Practice Act for the licensee and as a physical therapist or physical therapist assistant, or perhaps the overutilization of a physical therapy aid, and to conduct that investigation and to complete an investigation if necessary, as well as to educate licensed PTs and PTAs and the public about what physical therapists and physical therapist assistants do in Oregon, and to really be a resource for us as well. So I wanted to give a couple of just short guidance on the Physical Therapist Licensing Board statutes, rule, and regulations. But I did, want to go back to the objectives. I had them open just to really look at and know that we're going to introduce terms. I did mention the laws. I didn't describe the role. We're going to get a little more into practice patterns later in this lesson builder. You're going to learn about the benefits of licensure and how having a license protects the public. And that is one of the rules, or not the rules, but the benefits of having a license is that there's a certain standard you have to maintain to keep a license, such as meeting the required continued competence or continued education requirements, and demonstrating that you can practice safely within the physical therapy practice setting. And then you're going to learn, as I mentioned, the scope of PTs and PTAs and the role of aides and the rules of our profession, which you'll find in at the Oregon Physical Therapist Licensing Board website. So I have a couple of links. I have intentionally shortened this a bit because I think when you open this up, especially the administrative rules, it can look a little overwhelming. Let's start with the About Us. So this is a link to the Physical Therapist Licensing Board. There's a way that you could, there's the administrative rules that we'll talk about in a minute. You can see who the board members are. And we have a PTA on the licensing board. I would like to advocate for having 2 PTAs on the licensing board. What I always enjoy seeing is somebody I know, such as Becca Reich, who's a doctor of physical therapy, faculty member at Pacific, is on the board. I can't say I know the other people well. I don't know Erica, but I've known the public member in the past, so that's been cool. There's forms for you to have access to as you apply for a license, which will come up in just about a year and a half. You have access to publications. The licensing board typically puts out a publication 1 time a year. Here's the old state statute of 2017. I'm not going to get into that too much. I think that can be a little overwhelming at this stage. And complaint form, policies and procedures. when meetings are, which are open to the public generally. Not all of them, but often. They're open to the public. You can always contact the licensing board if you wanted to attend a meeting, as an SPTA, for example. And so let's go back and get into the rules and regulations regarding physical therapists and physical therapist assistants. This would be the administrative rules. And I want you to pay attention to divisions 10, 15, 20, and 25. I do recommend printing them. I think they're nice to have as resources, or certainly if you want to, in order to have access to a more quick way, you can bookmark it as resources as well. So I'm going to break now and come back and do another recording on the administrative rules.